Welcome back to the channel. I got a few things done to the car off camera. This next part is going to be kind of hard and boring to film, so there might be big gaps between videos I release. But so far what I've done is just still waiting for the negative battery cable to come in. That's always fun waiting on parts. But what I did was just ran the positive battery cable through the car. They give you this awesome channel right down here to put stuff in, you know. Great for doing wiring. I don't know if back in the 60s Chevy was like, hey, someday somebody's gonna want to do a lot of wiring, you know, for fuel injected motors. I don't know. I don't know why they did it, but I'm thankful they did it because that makes it extremely awesome and easy to run the wires through the car without interfering with anything. The carpet's not going to be bowed or anything. Great. So I started doing that. My plan is to run the positive and the negative cable up and then kind of across the firewall. They'll dip down right behind the starter, both the positive and the negative. The positive, of course, will go over and loop into the starter. The negative will just go to the bell housing right on the back of the engine. I do have other grounding straps around the car, like I said before. So we're good there. Just waiting on parts to show up. I started working on the back a little bit. I got the connector put on. So I used a Dulce connector in the back. I like these connectors. Again, just got them off Amazon, you know. These are a little bit more higher end than your typical like weather tight. So just kind of wired one in, got that all for the fuel pump and the level. So the plan is to put a solenoid there so that the forward solenoid will activate this solenoid, which is right next to the battery, which will power the pump. That way there's no power draw issues. So kind of just doing those things right now, working on some of the car. Kind of just working on a lot of that stuff right now. It's a lot of wiring, very boring. I don't know how much of this I'm going to film, but I'll do the best I can to give you guys, you know, good content. I'm really focusing on talking less, working more. So in these videos, you're not going to see me talking for 15 minutes. So that's what I got going on. That's where I'm at. I am digging into the door panels and the quarter panels because the owner decided to go with electric windows. So we're going to do electric windows, electric locks. So I got to wire all that in as well. I spoke to him the other day and told him, hey, look, I'm building the whole harness by hand, so if these are things that we want to put in the car, we need to decide them now so that we can put them in the car, and that way I'm not going back and hacking up the harness that I just built. So we just decided to do electric windows, electric locks, all the modern conveniences. So I got a lot of that stuff to work on as well. I got the parts ordered, they're on their way in, so a lot of parts waiting for right now. But in the meantime, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the intake manifold back off the car, wire in that missing circuit for the AC pump, and so maybe I'll bring you guys along for that. Give me a little bit, let me take that apart, and then we'll see where we're at. All right, thought I'd give you guys a quick update. Got the electric windows and door locks in for the car. I showed you guys the door locks. Those are already in. Was waiting for the negative battery cable, which showed up along with all of the parts for the electric windows. So I struggled with this today, figuring that I could get all of the windows done in one day. Yeah, no. But got one done. I mean, you know, progress is progress, right? So the one thing that I don't like is when it goes down, see how it's got that quick drop to it? I think that's the rollers that they're just kind of hammered. Really, the rollers and the guides, they don't really do much anymore. Sorry, just saw that mouse that I've been seeing. I got traps out trying to get that guy. But anyways, yeah, so, I mean, it works. It just got that little bit of a drop right there in the beginning that's kind of annoying, but other than that, up and down real nice, no problems. Of course, the switches are garbage, the motors are garbage. You really don't get any kind of good quality anything these days. You know, even buying from, got these from Classic Industries. Not impressed at all. Already had to go through and tweak on the wiring just to get the stupid window to go up and down. But there you have it. Electric window, and soon to be electric windows, I hope. But we'll see how that goes. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish up this door. Got to do the electric door locks. So I'm going to try and get that done real quick before I go home. Maybe I'll turn the camera back on after I'm done, show you how that works. Obviously I got a lot of wiring to do, basically the whole car. So not worried about the wiring right now. Just kind of hooked up a battery to the harness that came with to test it going up and down. It does close nice. Spent a lot of time on the alignment. It does pretty good. The back window needs to come up more, but again, this one's going to go electric too, so I need to do a lot of alignment with that. Of course, clean the glass, make sure I didn't scratch it anywhere or anything else like that. But yeah, it's not bad. The top definitely needs some rubber. Right here, there's about a pinky's gap right there, and then right here where the top splits, it's got a pretty good gap there as well. So probably gonna have to look for new seals, but it's pretty straight all the way around, so you know, not bad. All right, let me grab the parts to do the electric door locks and see if I can bang that out before I go home, and then you know, after I'm done, I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, well, got the driver's window done. Seems like a day of window is what this is turning out to be. It's probably a lot of you going, what? How, you know? Yeah. That's what happens when you're crazy and you want to make everything perfect. So, note, you should probably wait to try and adjust the windows. I fell down the rabbit hole on this one. You can't adjust the windows until you're ready to adjust everything. So, which means I got to put the back windows in. The weather strip here on the top needs to be replaced. I'll show you here in a couple seconds. It's got some big gaps. It's pretty hard too. So I need to look into that. It's soft, you know. I guess it's not really hard. It looks like it's just shrink. So I need to figure out what's going on, whether it be the weather strip on the top or the weather strip here in the door or on the A-pillar. Not sure, but I got to get that. Look, you got to make sure everything is in and done before you start moving the window around. If you just start playing with the adjustment, you're just going to fight yourself, because you try to adjust this to everything, then you try to adjust this to this to this, and then you come back and you replace the weather strip because it's got some cracks in it. Come to find out now nothing fits right, then you got to go back, adjust. Look, it's like putting a door and a fender on a car. You got to have everything there. You got to have the hood there, you got to have the front end there, you got to have everything there, because you got to tweak and tune every single piece until the whole unit is straight and everything lines up the way it's supposed to be. You can't just put a door on and then adjust the door and think that the fender is going to fit the door right now. It doesn't work that way. Everything's got to be on and in for you to adjust everything. That way you can get it all lined up right. Same with the windows. You got to have it all in. So tomorrow I'm going to try and get both rear quarters done. I've never done them in this car. Never done the regulators in a Camaro or any of the GMs. early 60s GM cars, so I don't have no idea. I was looking at the instructions and it looks like it's a little interesting, but you know, I don't know, probably come in the morning, watch a YouTube video, see how somebody else does it, and then try and tackle it myself. I spent a lot of the day ordering a lot of the parts that I was missing, going through and picking out the door lock switches, because you need those. So I got door lock switches, got window switches, because the cheap GM ones that they give you, these are really cheap and useless. I'm not using those. They're chrome, there's no way. I'm not using those. Had to replace the door panels, of course, because they had the crank handle. Not using that anymore. So I picked out some really nice door panels, some really nice quarter panels for the inside, and of course then I went ahead and ordered the back seat to match the front seats. So all of this stuff is actually going to match. Door panels, seats, back seat. The carpet I'm noticing is faded in a couple spots, so I'm going to go ahead and probably replace the carpet. I need to look over that again now and make sure. The other thing too is when I moved the shifter down, it moved the carpet kind of back because the shifter hole. I could cut the shifter hole a lot oblong and shove it back up because there's going to be a center console there. But I don't know. I need to check it out and see if that's something I want to do or if I'm just going to order new carpet for it. Carpet is inexpensive, and if you're going to have all brand new interior, might as well, right? So I got all that stuff organized, parts on order. I'm still waiting on a bunch of wiring to come in. A bunch of circuits that I ordered for the fuel pump relay in the back. I think early on in this video I called it a solenoid. It's not a solenoid, it's a relay. So this is actually going to have a forward relay that activates the rear relay. The reason I've done that is because it's got a pretty large pump in the back, and if I would have just the relay here in the front running that big long length of the car, with the battery in the back coming forward and then that big relay wire coming backwards, it's a lot of length of wire. You lose a lot in length when you start to get long, as you know, especially with like extension cords and stuff. The longer the extension cord, generally the fatter the extension cord gets, you need more wire in there. So I thought, well, instead of running a massive wire that's going to get hot and possibly have problems, I'm just going to have this relay activate a relay here in the back. Plus I have read from a couple different people that the single relay running a big pump like that, you're going to run into problems. It's going to draw too much power. The relay's not going to be able to hold it, and you're just going to constantly pop in that relay. So to do away with the problem, the battery is neighbors with the fuel pump. I put a relay in between, and so now it goes straight out of the battery right into the fuel pump via relay that's right there next to the battery. So solves that problem. Simple, easy to do. You'd wire it the same way, except for the power wire that comes off of this relay that you would normally power the fuel pump with is now going to be the signal wire to that relay that's going to turn that relay on. Again, I plan on doing a wiring harness drawn up thing so the next guy kind of knows what's what and where's what, that kind of stuff. So I'm waiting for those circuits to come in. I have, let's see, I have, so I have this here. This is my fuel pump and my fuel level. So I'm waiting for the two circuits to come in for the fuel level, and then that one circuit that's going to activate that relay right there, up there next to the battery. And then I'm going to put a circuit breaker on the back side of it. So as it comes off the battery, it'll go over to the circuit breaker into this. So it's got a safety device to it. Won't have a standard fuse, it'll just be a circuit breaker. That'll work just fine. So, and then once all that's done, then I can button the trunk up. So I already have the power wire there in the back. I have the negative battery cable. I'm just going to mirror that and make that look the same. So these doors are done now. It's just these two screws is what you end up with after everything is installed. That little Z looking bracket, W bracket, or whatever you want it to look like. Not sure if you can actually see in there, but let's see if I can get you pointed in the right direction. Up. And that's what that looks like. So, and then as you operate the door, you know, real basic. You know, that's pretty much the way all of them work. And then it's just a couple wires. So to do the wiring, on that, on the door locks, you need two relays per door. The other way, and one of the ways that you can do the windows as well, is 2 relays per door. I'm not going to do that. That's a lot of relays. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 relays to do all 4 windows and the 2 door locks, and that's way too much. Relays will allow you to use, as far as windows go, will allow you to use all kinds of different switches. You don't have to use window switches at that point. You can use just really all kinds of switches. They do make specific window switches that carry the amperage, that do all the switching that the 2 relays would normally do on the inside. So I'm going to just utilize aftermarket. They're universal switches, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them there on the center console, and so you'll have all 4 windows, and then you'll also have unlock and lock there on the center console, and I'll show you how that looks later on when we get to that. But basically what you can, and then also up here on the front, I haven't taken the intake manifold off yet. Reason I haven't done that is because, again, I'm waiting for wiring to come in. I need the wire so I can run that last circuit. I could be done with that, kind of button all this up, and then blow the hole through the firewall, finish that up. Before I go blowing the hole through the firewall though, I need to mount the coils. The coils are going to go underneath the dash, so I need to fit 2 of these up underneath of there somehow. So that's going to be interesting. And basically, if you look at what I'm doing, you can look, it looks a lot like when you're cleaning up a mess in your shop or your house. If you're sweeping the floor, right? You're sweeping up this side, you're sweeping up that side, you're sweeping everything up to one central location. It's pretty much the way it goes when you're wiring a car. I've already done a lot of sweeping up in here. I'm doing sweeping up back here, basically pushing the pile to the center, which of course is going to be the dashboard or wherever it is in your car. Generally it's underneath the dash, but who knows what kind of car you got. So that's what I'm doing. As I get parts in, as I figure out how to do things and I order parts and wiring and equipment, I'm continually kind of just sweeping it all up to the center. You kind of don't want to do any finishing wire work. Now you can see the harness underneath the hood there. A lot of it is finished with coverings and that kind of stuff on it. It's okay at that point. You got to know where it's okay and where it's not okay. Where everything starts to conjoin underneath the dash, that's where it's not okay. So what you're going to notice is after I get those coils in, I get those mounted, that'll let me know where and what kind of room I have to go ahead and blow that harness through the firewall. Once that harness comes through, I'm just going to throw it through the firewall, and it's going to be a rat's nest of wires down here. At that point, I'm going to start wiring everything the way it should be wired, not paying attention to how it looks. More just trying to get the functionality out of it. Reason being is because I want to bring everything to that center point, hook everything up, and then make sure everything works before I go making everything look pretty. Kind of the same way you build a car from the ground up. You put everything into it, you test it out. Once you know everything works, you blow it all back apart, you make it look pretty, and then you put it all back together. Same goes with wiring. You do that same way, so that in the end, what you end up with is you end up with a nice finished harness that looks finished, and you haven't cut into it 50 times to try and go back and fix this and fix that and fix this, because you've already went through that process with all of the rat's nest of wires just laying on the floor. You'll see that when we get to it. But we're getting close to being able to start this car up. I don't have a lot left to do. Once I get a couple more circuits in, then I need to finish up the lighting harness and that one circuit for the injector harness. All of those circuits will be ready to come in. Once these windows are done, still need to order up the trim. I need to go through and figure out what I need, what I'm missing, why there's big gaps here. Once I get that figured out and I order the correct rubber and seals and all that kind of stuff, then I can come back and start adjusting the windows the way they need to be adjusted against the seal that I'm actually going to use, because right now I don't think I'm going to use these because of the big gaps and stuff. I don't want to hear air whistling as I go down the highway. So I'm going to get that finished, then I'll finish up adjusting the windows. Okay, as I was saying before, the battery just went dead. That's where we're at. That's the path that we're on right now. I wish a lot of this was more fast-paced. Something I could film a little bit more. It's wiring. That's the sad truth of where we're at. So let me let you guys go. I'm going to get these windows finished up. We'll crudely hook up the harness so that we can see all the windows go up and down and see everything work. As far as locks goes, I mean, you know how that stuff works. So I've tested them just with my power probe to make sure they go up and down. They do. Everything seems to work real good. So that'll be easy. I am probably going to use relays to activate these because I really can't see any other way of doing that because of the draw that they actually take. No big deal. I do have a relay box that's going to go over there. That's going to consolidate a lot of these other relays into one box. Anyways, let me get these windows in. We'll check everything out, and then we'll wrap this episode up. All right, guys. All right, well, here we are. Got all of the door locks and electric windows installed in the car. Still have quite a bit of aligning to do. This window here is scuffed up pretty bad on this edge. It's got a couple chips in it as well. So it looks like this piece of glass, they've really struggled to try and get the alignment on this one right. I noticed with this one, because you know me, I got to play around with it regardless of whether I know it's the right time to be adjusting windows or not. I still got to play around with it. So I've got them, we'll call it 70% dialed in. When I was dialing these two in here, I noticed these two just don't want to play ball at all. Like I was saying before, I got big gaps right up here. I can put my whole finger in between the weather strip from the top and the A-pillar. So I got this stuff on order. Had to order up new weather strip and stuff. Again, I'm not too worried about this, but seeing that this window is scratched up pretty bad and chipped in a couple spots, I'm guessing this glass probably isn't shaped right. I don't know, but I'm probably going to end up ordering up a new driver's window, possibly a quarter window. This window doesn't really fit quite right. Again, I got to play with it some more. I got to play with this window some more, because this window is going to affect how this window is going to sit because of, you know, their angles and positions and all that kind of stuff anyways. But got one more thing to check up off the list. Electric windows and door locks work. So there's that one, and then this one should be that one. There you go. Again, got some adjusting to do to them, but for the most part, I mean, you know, it works. I really don't like how they really don't think about how smooth the action is. You know, when you're looking at the window and you're rolling it up and down, I mean, it's just so wobbly and quick. One of the things you'll notice with a modern day car is that when you hit the electric motor, like on my Mercedes for instance, when you first touch the down or the up, the motor acts in different stages. It'll go slow at first, and then once it starts moving, it picks up speed. It gives you this sense of smooth operation, you know, when it does it. Plus, too, I mean, if you just want to crack the window a little bit, you don't want that glass to be moving at Mach 5 when you just want that little bit of air to come in. So, I mean, some of the stuff like, and this was not very inexpensive. I mean, this was quite pricey just for the electric window kit, you know, a little over $1,000. Really all it is just regulators with the electric motor attached to it. You know, this stuff is just absolute garbage. Plastic, chrome, wonky how it works. You know, maybe there's a little bit of money in wiring there. I don't know. I'll hack up some of the wires and utilize some of that to go up to the switches that I'm going to run. So I ordered some nice switches. They're up front. I ordered a couple different variations of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in the center console, and then whichever version actually looks the best and seems to function the best, then I'll go ahead and install those into the car. But for now, you know, I mean, you can't argue with the electric motors, you know, working and not working. So, man, they're there. I think I got to get some new stops, especially for this one here. You kind of hear it hit the stop and it makes a real metallic sound. This one actually has that, hear that little clunk at the end? What that is the little adjustable stop. As it passes the electric motor, it just barely clips it. So I'm going to kind of shape the end of that adjuster so that it doesn't, you know, just flick the electric motor as it passes. But, you know, I mean, the operation's good. The main reason for this is because, you know, when you're cruising on the highway and you want to put the top down, you know, you got to reach around and crank all the windows down. The top's electric. I don't know why the windows wouldn't be electric. So, but that's just more wiring for me to do. But, you know, I mean, that's what it is building these cars, is you got to think it through, think about what you want, what the end product is really going to be with the car, and then work through those issues as you go. So car's turning out nice. I did get some of the circuits in. I'm waiting for, so I got some 18 gauge. 18 gauge is pretty small. That's going to do a lot of my circuit jumping or extensions of the engine harness. So as I cut and hack and I need to extend, that's going to supply that. Pure copper wire, none of this copperized aluminum or tin, or no tinned, no, you know, it's all just pure copper wire. So you always want to be careful when you're doing that. Try and get the best wire you can. I always tend to stay away from the the copper clad aluminum and the tinned copper. I always stay away from those two. But pure copper wire, always the best. So I'm waiting for some 14 gauge to come in so that I can do some of the other stuff. So I have some of it. I can finish up the trunk, the relay in the trunk for the fuel, and then the trunk will be finished as soon as I get that negative battery cable ran through. I do have my little clamps and all my stuff, so I really have all the stuff for that. Today, unfortunately, I got to go run and do some stuff at some of the other properties, but I'm happy to have this part of the project finished. I am still waiting on the door panels and the quarter panels and that kind of stuff to come in. I think you guys are going to really like that. Well, unless you're a purist, then you probably won't like it too much because it's a little more modern. All this stuff is made to match the seats, the front seats, match the back seats, match the door panels, and, you know, trying to keep it looking good without going too crazy, you know, not doing the big padded leather, you know, dash pad and the crazy custom center console. I'm just going to go with the stock center console. Obviously, it's still got the stock dash pad in it, so just trying to throw in a few modern conveniences and look and feel. So remember, like I was saying, it's all about balance. So that's what I'm trying to get out of this car. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate every single one of you that have stuck around this long with me. So thank you guys very much for watching. And as always, until next time.